Hello and welcome everyone to
Virtually Off.
I know I've been teasing this series for a long time, but here it finally is. Basically, I take a look at weird VR things because over the years, my god, there have been some very odd virtual reality devices. Today, I have a headset that caught my eye through email months ago when DPVR asked if I wanted to test out one of their new 4K headsets. I had two options, either this standalone 3DOF headset or the HMD E3 4K VR gaming combo, the only VR gaming combo in the world with 4K resolution. So I made the obvious choice, the DPVR HMD VR the DPVR HMD VR E3 4K gaming combo. Why would I even need my index after this puppy came in? Might as well just throw it up on eBay. But then I learned that this headset actually uses Nolo for its tracking, which piqued my interest even more. Nolo itself is an odd piece of hardware that I have never used on a headset that only uses a single Nolo base station to track in 6 degrees of freedom. I've always used either the inside out we see on the Quest or Rift S or Steam VR or the Oculus sensors. So this was going to be something totally new for me. I sent off my info and kept this video on repeat because, come on, between this man and this video, how could I even contain my excitement? Well, a couple of months flew by and it arrived, and in all of its beauty, the E3 4K comes in some pretty nice packaging, I'll be honest. Brandishing Nolo as well as Steam VR support on the box. Of course, in the box you get the headset, which I gotta say it's a little plasticky feeling. But this is bound to be a budget option headset, right? Well, I couldn't actually find a price or place to buy the headset, at least not, in North America. So I did some digging, and this is how much you could buy the headset for. And what is this in American monies? Holy shit. Okay, so this combo is roughly $429. So it's not much of a budget option, even though it feels like one, but we'll just have to see later if it can perform well. Also, what's this? Wireless quick connect and plug and play? I'm sorry, but this doesn't look so wireless to me. Maybe there was just a translation error. It's totally possible. I mean, the wording here is a little odd anyways on their website. 4K resolution, high precision display. Okay, well, to be fair, it does have a pretty high resolution, I'll give it that. Precise positioning, loyal to player. We'll see about that. You can enjoy this stimulatory screen, because I know that I always enjoy my 3D movie time. I don't know if there's anything that gets on esport industry people's nerves more than wording like this. You can watch esports and real sports with a huge screen. And you gotta love the pictures that they give. Okay, moving on. This headset connects to your PC using 3 USBs and an HDMI. And what I first thought were speakers here are actually what appear to be a microphone, because the only audio that I could get through the headset was through the 3.5mm headphone jack off the tether. Also in the box is the included Nolo tracking system, including one base station, 2 controllers, and the headset marker. I do gotta say, for my first time really touching Nolo controllers, they feel pretty nice. 2 trackpads with a trackpad button, a trigger on the back and a nice click at the end, 2 buttons, and an ambidextrous side button that I assume serve the purpose for a grip button for most games. Looking at the instruction, setup is supposed to be extremely easy, so contrary to my instincts of ignoring the instructions, I'll follow them as closely as possible. Okay, I downloaded the DPVR software, plugged in the headset, turned on the base station and controllers, and surprisingly, everything just shows up. The headset updates properly, and SteamVR recognizes the whole setup right away. Then, of course, I started up SteamVR room scale setup, and it works perfectly right out of the gate to my surprise. Okay, not so perfectly, actually. But I was still able to get into SteamVR, and I was greeted with this absolute mess. There's no way that this is what this headset was supposed to do. I knew I had to be doing something wrong, so I looked back through the manual to no avail. I managed to fix some of the problems by doing a magnetic calibration, which entails moving the headset in a figure 8 pattern for about 5 minutes. I also learned that you could reset the position on the controllers as they drift by pressing the menu button twice and holding out the controllers straight in front of you, which you'll see me do about 700 times throughout the video. So I remade my play space, recalibrated everything, and even set my base station up just a little bit higher to get a better view of my controllers. Now the real question is, can you play Beat Saber on this thing? Okay, recalibrate one more time. Now! We're playing... Sorta. I mean, the most I could even come close to finishing were songs on Expert. I found that the controllers constantly drifted into weird angles, and I'd have to completely readjust the angle I was hitting the blocks at, or pause to recalibrate the controller orientation. But hey, I was able to finish some songs with the Nolo controllers and this headset. Was it great? No, it was actually a really awful experience compared to any other headset I have ever used. Was it doable? Yeah, I guess so. And once I got used to some of the weird quirks of the Nolo tracking, finishing a song on at least Expert wasn't impossible. Although my sabers fly out of my hands quite often, and you have to be really careful not to turn your body at all. You have to be facing directly forward, and yeah, just don't move. Pretty much don't move. Okay, so technically Beat Saber is more or less playable if you call it that. I mean, it boots up and you can slash blocks, so just don't expect to play well or get on the leaderboards. But what about my personal favorite game, Boneworks? At this point, I actually have pretty high expectations for the Nolo tracking in something that doesn't require quite as much movement, so of course, I gotta give it a try. Well, to my surprise, the game launches fine, and the IK of your arms looks pretty fantastic with the Nolo controllers. The display shows off the game nicely, but there's one fatal flaw. You can't actually play the game. Since Boneworks and Steam recognizes your Nolo controllers as Vive wands, and you're missing a bit of the functionality of those controllers, you can't actually select anything in the game. No grip, no pointing, nothing. And remember when I said that tracking was starting to look impressive? Well, that's until you actually move the controllers that need to be tracked. It felt like I was fighting off a ghost grabbing my body. It was at this point that I realized, wow, maybe ever gotten sick in VR once. Right now? I think I'm gonna puke. I'm sick. Like, actually motion sick. I'm not sure if it was the refresh rate or the jumping around and crazy movement due to the Nolo tracking, but it was here that I sat down and took a break to reconsider my life decisions leading up to this point. Why am I doing this? I have an index right here, and to think I even considered something could replace it. Or my trusty Quest, you've done me so well, and here I am actually dying of motion sickness just to make some internet video. Then I remembered the thoughtful email from Zhao, and how he said, "We find your reviews comprehensive, devoted, and outstanding for VR and related industries." And I knew I just had to pick my arse up and finish this damn video. Zhao was counting on me for my honest review, and I'm counting on making more than just Tuesday Newsday again. So I got up and launched Pavlov. For Pete! Look, I'm determined to get a kill. I need to say that I've done it with this thing. And then, finally, upon achieving a kill in Pavlov, I got it! Woo! With the DPVR E3 4K gaming combo HMD, what are my serious thoughts on this device? Well, it's a VR headset. I mean, it does technically function as a VR headset. I was able to play Beat Saber, and I did get a kill in Pavlov. The displays actually look pretty darn good. The resolution is nice. The image is clear, although I don't know where they're getting the whole 110 degrees field of view from, because it's definitely not that. After wearing it for a few hours, it wasn't as uncomfortable as I initially thought it would be. So all in all, I feel like DPVR really didn't make something that bad. But, and this is a big but, if there was a bare minimum standard for how a PC VR headset should function, this package falls pretty far short of that standard. I mean, it costs more than a Rift S and Quest, yet underperforms in almost every single way, except for resolution. I know I rag on the Quest and Rift S for the crappy audio there, but this has none. I know some people say that the in-sight tracking is unplayable for games, but imagine not being able to play games at all. And you know, I have an extremely strong stomach in terms of motion sickness and VR motion, and I got incredibly nauseous from playing with this combo. Honestly, this was a bit of a wake-up call for me to understand the feeling that people get when they do get motion sickness in VR, and it's no joke. I had the cold sweats, my skin became clammy, and my face got pale, and I almost needed to rid myself of that morning's breakfast. It just was not a good feeling. What really sucks here is that between the headset itself and the tracking methods used, that's what caused that. But the biggest negative here wasn't even getting sick. It was the Nolo tracking. Playing games with Nolo and expecting consistent, good quality millimeter precision tracking like you get with Steam VR tracking is a long shot. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. In Beat Saber, I had just enough tracking to finish a couple songs, but that was just barely. You see what happens in the other games. Also, before someone tells me that I should angle the base station, I mean, by instructions, you can't. This thing is buzzing and vibrating all over the place with moving components on the inside. The tracking used here requires the base station to be flat. So putting it up way high and angling it down is not an option. It actually screws up with the entire algorithm or whatever this thing uses for tracking. So my adventure with the DPVR E3 4K Gaming Combo HMD has honestly been a decent one. Not because I had a good experience playing games with it, or because I think anyone should buy this, but partly because it made me really appreciate using anything but Nolo for tracking. For a device that has pretty decent visuals with a high resolution display to be ruined and almost unusable for most applications due to only a single third-party device here is unfortunate. Of course, there are small things that you could do that will make your experience with Nolo better. I mean, I have personally had better experience using Nolo with full body, which I'll make a video on that too. But really, it's just been an interesting deep dive into a device that is truly odd. Virtually odd, that is. Thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to tune into the stream today. We'll be live on Twitch, and thanks to all of my Patreon supporters. I couldn't be doing any of this without you. Don't forget to like this video if you loved it, subscribe if you want more of this, and hit that freaking bell if you just can't live without it. Much love, Thrill out.